Perfect time to start.
Can you see your levels? See how you're clipping?
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know what to fucking.
This
No,
is
shut
starting off well.
No, shut up. I'm trying to figure this out. Shut the fuck up. Oh God.
It's like you're acting like it's an injustice being done to you.
It partially the fuck is. It partially the fuck.
Who is clipping me?
Is this better?
Who shit my pants? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I figured it out. It's my fucking. It's voice mod. It got turned on. And voice mod. God damn.
Now you can probably turn your regular input back up.
Yeah. All right.
Voice. They was on last time too. That's probably why I had to work some.
Well, I apologize for that.
Audacity magic.
The magic of editing.
Whoa. Yeah, that knucklehead's back, Joe.
Surprise!
At least he appreciates that I
Surprise, motherfucker.
So how was the Cape, Joe? Oh, you didn't expect this.
It was all right.
It was all right.
It was slightly better than expected.
Why?
Well, I got to see my cousin, who's from Pennsylvania. I haven't seen in like a decade, and he was up here for the summer, first a summer job, because it's easier to find work up here apparently. Just kind of depressing when you think about it. It's like things aren't that great up here.
It's like the only reason we're not moving to Pennsylvania.
And so I hadn't seen him in like a decade, so it's good to reconnect, I guess.
Rad. Is that why you were there?
No, I was there for why else? Baseball.
No. Oh, fuck. Well, we're happy you had a good time. I'm happy you had a good time.
I'm happy for you, Joe. That sounds great.
I knew I would get that response from Scott.
I am genuinely glad that you're back on the show, though.
Why?
Because I had a difficult time last episode.
Again, the magic of editing.
Well, it's nice to know that I'm appreciated.
Yeah, well, you are.
I thought you were going to say something. I thought you were going to say something.
I don't know. I kind of thought something that was going to... I honestly thought something was going to come, and then it just kind of didn't. And so I sounded kind of bitchy there.
Girl.
Sorry.
What?
No, I thought you were going to say something funny.
Squid.
What's going on with Squid?
She's pawing at the closet
Cat.
and shaking her tail and making this distressed mewling sound she really wants to get in there. And then when I go Squid, she stares at me and shakes her tail.
She wants you to open that door.
I know she does, but I know what she's gonna do.
Not go in.
She's gonna
stand at the doorway for
no. She's gonna go in there.
Run away.
She's gonna dig as deep as she can, and then she's gonna nest in something. She's gonna decide that it's hers. She's gonna pee on it, and then we're not gonna be able to get her out. And then in 2 months, someone will open the closet and be like, "Geez, it really smells like cat piss in here." And then we have to go on a safari to find out which item of clothing or which blanket has been pissed on. And then we have to throw it out because it's alien blood and you cannot wash the smell out. You cannot wash the smell out. It is unbelievable.
Oh, I know. Cat pee really is that is impossible. If the cat pees on it, just throw it out.
And the fucked up thing is then the other cats in the house will smell the pee on it and then they'll be like, "Oh, this is where I pee now."
Cats really sound like just chaotic animals. Jesus.
Oh, cats
it's
are
just squirrel. It's just squirrel. I don't know why. I think we treat her differently, and I think she feels entitled for some reason because
my oldest cat. He just kind of just does whatever the fuck he wants, and he doesn't really give a shit if it annoys anyone. If he's annoyed with us for some reason, he will intentionally just shit right next to the box, and he'll be looking at you while he's doing it, intentionally I'm going to shit I'm gonna shit right next to the box and then just leave it to convey my discontent with you. And stuff like that. When I was younger, like, he would go into my closet, burrow himself into, like, a bunch of laundry or whatever, and then, like, take a shit in my laundry, like, bury it under all the laundry, and then just leave it there.
Okay, wow.
That's the kind of cat he's been for almost 18 years now.
You guys.
And so, like...
Hello, and welcome back to the Boston Commune. I'm Jesse. You're listening to the Epoch of Incredulity, episode number 118, Snowblind on Planet X, recorded August 22nd, 2023, featuring commentary from comrades Scott, Joe, and myself. We discuss the deadliest wildfire in modern American history, the new normal in American classrooms, climate justice, or injustice, we can't quite tell, an updated hurricane outlook, the prospect of material security in Guatemala, and Joe's perspective on the Socialist Project's greatest hurdles over the past century. The slams stare back in terror from the bathroom mirror. Please do us a favor, share this content.
Imagine calling this guy in and it's like, oh my God, everything's flooding. Aaron Jacobs, our local expert, please get in here and tell us what to do. And he just comes in and he's like, I'm going to be real with you guys. I got nothing.
Yeah, he looks at the houses and he's just like, damn, that's crazy. That's what's happening? Shit.
They sound like chaotic little children.
No, they're so cute. They
shit everywhere.
In a way, they are.
They evoke... They, like, squeeze the oxytocin out of my brain. Like...
Anyways.
It's her nip, baby.
Hey, that's not her fucking nipple.
It is her nipple.
It's near her nipple.
No, it is her nipple. Dude, it's her nipple.
Okay.
This is an unexpected direction. Sorry for enabling this.
Shout out to my now deceased spider. Her name was Eggplant. She was a good girl. I almost cried last night because
I had a pet spider.
I was trying to hand her to Carlene, and Carlene was not ready to hold her, and she fell on the floor and died.
Jesus.
I'll plug my YouTube at the end of the show so you can watch. I filmed her doing this really cool thing with her web. Steatota triangulosa has this stereotypic behavior where they have a pulley system and they hoist their prey up. You know, what are the things that painters use? You hoist yourself up on the scaffolding and you can raise it and lower it with ropes.
Oh, yeah.
What's that called?
I don't know. It's like a pulley, but I don't know.
Yeah, I filmed it, so I'll plug my channel at the end and you can watch it if you're into that kind of thing.
If you're into spiders, if you're into cats, we got all the content. We got it all here, folks. All right.
Rest in power.
Talk about some news. Tell us about this teacher that unfortunately got shot. Can't go anywhere today without getting shot, especially if you're a teacher. Which, that, I actually meant to start that out as a joke, and then I realized,
it's true.
It's not actually a joke, so continue.
So, where is it?
America.
No, I'm just
Colorado, probably.
In America, you can't go anywhere without getting shot.
So in Newport News, Virginia.
Oh, I wasn't in the Denver Post then. Never mind.
Because it's a big story. Anyways, Joe, go. Sorry.
So this school teacher was shot by a 6-year-old student back in January, and the first grade teacher, Abigail Zwerner, sued for $40 million in damages as a result of being shot. And the motion filed last week by attorneys representing the school board argues that Zwerner, who was shot in her classroom in January by a 6-year-old student, is only entitled to file a workers' compensation claim because the injury she sustained from the shooting is a quote-unquote workplace injury, and that the shooting was a hazard of the job.
Which means basically
that
they're telling her
they make the legal argument that school shootings are a quote-unquote unfortunate reality, that teaching in America is a profession not without its dangers.
Which, again, it is true, but that's not a reason to not cover, to shaft somebody when they actually do get shot. Especially, if a school, you'd think if a school is willing to acknowledge that it is, a sad reality, that, then they would try to have, protections and funds in place if something were to happen. But I guess not, so.
Well, because think about it, the school board, they're like management in the employer-employee relationship. And so they just don't want to pay their workers. Actually.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's just crazy. Anyways.
Wow.
What?
As of August 8th, the mother of that boy pled guilty to child neglect.
Oh, boy.
And in an unsealed search warrant, there's a statement from the child, quote, "I shot that bitch dead."
Wait, really?
Yeah.
The kid said that?
The kid said that.
Why did the kid say that? What? What?
Because he's 6.
What the fuck? But, oh my god.
"I did it," the boy told school officials, according to police in an affidavit. "I got my mom's gun last night."
Wow. So, yeah, because that was going to be my question is, where does that come from? And I guess we found out. It's unfortunate. Anyways, America is an awful place, and it's very upsetting, but everybody deserves a little bit of grace, a little bit of a social safety net.
But also, in America,
less guns.
If you don't keep your eye on your kids, they go and shoot their fucking teachers and then brag about it. So stakes are pretty high.
Yeah. It's a pretty bad place. Anyways. We got more upsetting bullshit from the American government in response.
No, I feel like I kind of hijacked that. So, Joe, you proposed this story as
this is the reality of being employed in America at this point, where it's we really don't care if you die. We just need you to come into work, generate the labor value. We might pay you.
What problem, though, is the first part negates the rest of it.
Say that one more time.
We don't care if you die, but we do care if you, are here to generate profit, which is
Well, the implication is that they can replace you. They can replace you with somebody else if you die.
That's a better way of putting it. Sorry. Yeah.
You are expendable.
True. And you know what? And I've thought about it. There are a million assholes who can, replace you. Yeah, it is upsetting. Sorry.
If this is how unionized workers are being treated, you can only imagine, how things are going for non-unionized workers in America.
Is the teachers' union very strong, though?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Okay. Well, that's good.
They're, very high profile. Politicians hate teachers' unions.
I was about to say, in what sense are they high profile?
It's true. They pretty much, politicians, it's like a bipartisan thing of, we hate teachers, but the Democrats have to pretend that they kind of give a fuck.
Well, they're, unindictable. They're, doing the most wholesome shit you can do for the country.
Barely getting paid for.
They're teaching children for, shit pay.
It's like them and, EMTs and first responders.
Yeah, exactly.
People you can't make fun of, or you can't talk shit about. And I guess to a small degree, air traffic controllers, but that's kind of it.
I have seen some scathing indictments of air traffic controllers.
Yeah.
I mean, Reagan definitely didn't give a fuck about air traffic controllers.
That's what's in the back of my mind right now is that right now is the longest period where there hasn't been an aviation disaster in a while, a significant aviation disaster in a while. But the who's the flight people? FAA, right? They're
the Federal Aviation.
Yeah, they are kind of ringing some alarm bells right now that there are gaps in the system that will lead to something bad, significantly bad happening. But you kind of dude, we have figured out a way, and then you can talk about planes use a lot of fuel and they are a big contributor to climate change, mostly private jets. But man, we have this whole fleet of people that keep fucking giant tin cans in the air, and that's impressive.
You're flying! You're like a Greek myth right now!
I think so. Anyways.
Mentioning the air traffic controllers, it made me think of that clip of that Wall Street dipshit on CNBC, Jim Cramer, who was talking about the looming UAW strike. And he said, with complete seriousness, he said, "I'm pro-union" in the way that Reagan was pro-union, and I was just like, "Wow,
Yeah, fuck off, Joe Kramer."
That is truly remarkable to say that completely unironically, given that like Reagan is quite infamous for crushing
Jim Kramer.
the air traffic controller strike his first year in office.
Yeah, that's considered the end of popular labor movement that had picked up steam after World War II. That was considered the end of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Reagan is, man. I'm just saying, we've had worse presidents than Trump.
I am
Bush,
pro-capitalist in the way that Fidel Castro was pro-capitalist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait, I actually want to hear this because I'm very curious. And that he's not, or does he have like a direct quote where he says why, like something about capitalism, and it's like it's power. It's
Fidel
it's
Castro.
check.
I'm sure you
Yes.
said. I'm sure you said something about cat.
Oh, okay. So you were just okay. I thought there was something deeper there, but if it was
No.
okay, sorry.
I'm
off tonight. Jeez.
I'm stupid, so I just needed to like vomit the joke out before I forgot it.
I thought it was a pretty good one.
Thank you.
So more depressing stuff. Maui wildfires happened. You've probably heard about it, and the government's response was very poor. Joe, go off.
Yeah, the government's response has been pretty shitty. The only thing I've heard that they've done is like, oh, we'll give people a one-time like $700 check. And then I saw Biden giving a speech in Hawaii yesterday, like for like a couple minutes, and honestly, like it really does look like he's Weekend at Bernie's. He's just kind of there holding like a piece of paper while he's talking, and he started talking about how somehow he understands what people are going through because his wife died in a car accident in like 1972 or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, how many times is this guy gonna like trot out to like his dead wife as like an excuse to avoid talking about actually anything relevant whatsoever?
I mean, if it's still a burning emotion, okay, fine. If he still feels the loss, then like he's allowed to talk about it, but like at the same time, he's going to exploit it and trot it out as much as he can to not do anything else.
It's like the same like soundbite for the last 50 years.
He's evolved just a little bit. Well, I mean, he's incorporated like ice cream and Jack and a couple of.
It's all right, guys. It's 2023. We have a neurodivergent president.
Yeah, man. Oh man.
He doesn't really know where he is. It's okay. It's like half the Senate.
What else has the government done? Has there been any other response besides or like aid besides the 700? Because I know,
Yes.
Not that I'm aware of.
Venture capitalists are
yeah, that's what I was going to.
rescuing Hawaiian
Quote,
real
unquote.
estate.
Thank God. Somebody's got to do it.
The
Yeah.
vultures are circling, and real estate developers are already trying to like get people
Buy it
to like
up, baby.
sell their homes for like basically nothing after they've lost basically everything.
Yeah.
Oprah, who owns 2,000 acres of land in Hawaii, made a point of showing up at a shelter, but of course with a film camera in tow to demonstrate that she did the thing. That's the extent to which rich people have helped.
Yeah, but did she actually help though?
No.
No, it was just a publicity thing.
Okay.
Even though she owns like a bunch of land.
She's one of the people that's increasing property values. She's pricing Hawaiians out of Hawaii.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, it's literally the most unaffordable state in the country now in terms of housing. Like, most Hawaiians spend like upwards of 40% of their income on rent.
Oh yeah. This I've heard.
So like,
Who isn't spending 40% of their income on rent?
like it's more expensive than California now. It's more expensive than here. It's more expensive than New York.
I think Boston is the second most expensive city in the country.
I don't think it is.
Maybe third. I think probably third behind LA and New York.
No, we're more expensive than New York now.
I don't
Oh, that's
think it
cool.
is. I don't think it is.
I fucking do. I'll fight you.
Don't think it is. Shut up.
I've been
fight
making
you.
jokes like, yeah, if you're not like rich, you're just not allowed to exist within like 20 miles of Boston.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm not rich, Joe.
New York, number 1. LA, number 2. San Fran, number 3. Honolulu, number 4. Washington, D.C., number 5. Number 6, Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, I was wrong. Okay.
But still, no, we're in the top 10. That's still, like, pretty, significant.
When I have to deal with people being like, why don't you live like closer to Boston? It's like,
Because I don't want to die.
I'm poor.
Because I don't want to starve.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, even people in this area on food stamps still don't have enough to eat, so.
It's fucked out there. It's fucked.
What the fuck ever, man?
If you want news on the city council, listen to Bostopia News.
Like,
because holy shit,
everything is on fire.
A clown show.
Not only is our government indifferent, but also apparently the Department of Justice is of the legal opinion that U.S. citizens do not have a constitutional right to a stable climate. This is an assertion made in Juliana v. U.S., which is a lawsuit in federal court that alleges that the U.S. government is violating the constitutional rights of its citizens by not maintaining the climate to a degree that supports human life. And this is relevant because last week, a state court ruled in favor of a environmental group that made like a similar lawsuit at state level in Montana, arguing that the state is depriving them of or violating their constitutional rights by not cracking down on the fossil fuel industry that is destroying the climate that they have to live in. And this comes right as the Hawaii crisis is happening.
Yeah.
And Biden continues to refuse to declare a public emergency on climate. The closest he's come to doing that is he's like,
I've practically already done that.
Was this a Supreme Court decision? Or
this is a decision in the state court in Montana.
Is it going to be appealed?
Almost certainly, yes. But so far, the climate kids have won, well, at least this round.
What do you mean?
It was a group of kids who brought the lawsuit.
Yeah, what do you mean they won this round?
The Montana case sided in their favor.
Wait, I thought you...
What, bro?
Wait, I'm so fucking confused. What, dude? What you said? I thought you just said that the... What? I thought you just said that it didn't.
No, so...
What the fuck is happening?
The state court ruled that the state of Montana is violating this group of kids' like constitutional rights to a stable climate because nothing has been done about cracking down on like climate change.
Yeah, but didn't you also say that like
the government ruled that we don't have a
No, the government made an argument in a federal case that's being held up.
Oh.
They made a legal argument that there is no constitutional right.
You kind of sold that story in the completely backwards way.
Your framing was very deceptive. I have to say.
Don't do that. No, seriously, that's the type of shit that I don't like. And that's what I
don't.
No, that's what I was. That's what I was trying. This is what I was trying to get at when I was talking about can you just give a little rundown on what happened to Maui? Can you without framing it in any way other than what happened and without putting in any ideology or anything? Can you just state what happened? It's fine. You can talk about the other climate stuff. I need a moment.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
In Joe's defense, we could have just read it ourselves. We didn't.
Yeah. Ultimately, we are still the stupid ones. Oh my god.
Dude, I have no idea how we got through the last episode.
I thought we did pretty well.
Anyways, we could have these ideological banter kind of things, but man.
But that's just not allowed to happen when I'm here?
No, it is. It's just when it comes to raw, just keeping a show going with stories and stuff. It's it's hard.
We're just incapable of just. Yeah. What happened on Earth?
There was a bunch of wildfires. It's been largely attributed to a private utility company, not doing upkeep for profits. It was bad. Capitalism sucks. Yeah. It's killing all of us. The end.
Here's the thing.
Everyone was miserable. The end.
Here's the thing: is the place that was getting their electricity from those wires, and the employees of the company, the actual electric company, from both sides, they were warning the higher ups, this looks bad. this might, like, something bad might happen here, and then
Whoops.
so, like, everything again.
This sounds like shit that happens at my job all the time. We
Yeah.
tell people above us, yes, this car is like barely working and it's going to, like, the brakes basically don't work. The headlights have been dead for 3 months. Yeah, we'll deal with it later. Shit hits the fan.
It happened in California last year, maybe 2 years ago. When was that? It's happened so many times. I can't remember. It's happened more than once in
Isn't
California.
it amazing? There are, like, so many, like, extreme natural disasters that we're losing count of, like, which one we're actually talking about.
Last time we were talking about fires, I mentioned how bad the Canadian situation has gotten, and
those
so it is.
Trudeau deployed, like,
The Canadian military.
to...
Oh yeah, the wildfires, getting bad.
When you have, like, a military that with, like, an overbloated budget, everything starts to look like a job.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's better than prisoners like we do. So
Yeah, I agree.
No, my point is, like, we've stripped the capacity out of, like, every other industry to the point that, like, the only thing with the capacity to respond to crises is, like, the military.
Yeah, and same way the cops are the only people who are able to respond.
Dude, at least that's what Canada is using its military for.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, at least it's using it for something that isn't, like, it's not doing regime change. Yeah.
we deploy the military to, like, throw a bunch of plastic in a burning pit. Like, they'll build a building just to sit there, and then they'll fuck it up, and then they'll leave.
I mean, I had a roommate in college who was in the Marine Corps, and he was like, to sum it up, being in the Marine Corps is basically like being a professional janitor. That is most of what we do, like 70% of the time, is we're just, like, mopping up a floor somewhere, because we have nothing else to do.
Yeah, dude, it's just the logical succession from military school. You just go to real military and do the same shit.
That is, yeah.
Or you kill children, like...
Yeah, to put it bluntly, yeah. Or you patrol the border and...
I gotta say, like, fighting fires is better than both of those things.
Yeah.
You kill children and then get, like, a 10% veteran discount at McDonald's.
Get a heroin habit.
Have crippling nightmares and the inability
Get a traumatic brain injury.
more than 3.5 hours a night, yeah.
Good part is, though, when you get back, if you want to commit a mass shooting, you'll have absolutely no barriers to doing so.
Do it on a military base if you're gonna.
Yes, base.
if you must. No, but what is significant is the first Pacific hurricane ever, or like in 50 years, Hilary Rodham hurricane hit
More than 50
California.
years. It's been like 90 years.
I know it's been like a long fucking time.
I think the last hurricane that hit mainland California was in 1939.
Jesus. Okay. Is that shit?
But as a weather guy, all right, I do not want to hear any bullshit about how this is specifically a climate change thing, because it's like eventually it was going to happen again. There are other things that are obvious consequences of climate change, but like that's why when scientists are like, it could be, it's true, it could be.
Yeah, a lot of things could. Yeah, I was actually having the same kind of discussion with my boss, like at the end of last week, about the hurricane and about, like, they say this year is going to be a pretty intense season potentially.
Oh yeah,
but the wind shear is looking pretty good.
On that note, a couple of episodes ago,
God, we're dorks.
It was a weird thing where it was like I was right and I had no proof, so I didn't include it in the episode. I don't really know how else to explain it. Here's the explanation. So, like I've said, when we're recording and I make a statement, but I don't have a source with me, I tend to check it in the course of editing. Sometimes I make a minor mistake and I gotta correct myself or clarify, but sometimes I just can't find a reputable source, so I scrap it entirely. I know, very dishonest, very revisionist. And in this case, I had said that the NOAA revised its hurricane outlook, but when I looked for a press release, it just wasn't there. I don't know if it was tacitly understood that NOAA's prior outlook had been overly conservative, or if I was going off the predictions published by a handful of universities, but the fact is that it was a premature assertion on my part, at least at the time, so I scrapped it. Also, I've been thinking about this a lot, because I can empathize being fed what seems like a deliberately obfuscated, individualized reason for any event representative of a systemic problem. So I think this needs to be clarified. Climatologists and meteorologists, they know that climate change is real, and they know that climate change is real. If you can understand why a snowstorm is insufficient to disprove climate change, then you have essentially all the information you need to understand why a hurricane is insufficient to prove climate change. I feel a little better now. So after that episode came out, we have confirmation from the NOAA that they are indeed changing their hurricane outlook. Their initial estimate was basically, we have no fucking idea. So they gave like a 50% chance they said 40 to 60% chance of a near normal hurricane season.
Oh. The most non-committal prediction.
We're probably sure that it could be average-ish. They have now updated their hurricane outlook. Specifically, this is the Climate Prediction Center, which is part of the National Weather Service. They have a 70% above average hurricane season prediction now.
Oh, baby.
And we've already seen that start to pop off. Not just California, but a second tropical system just hit Texas today.
Oh.
We're already up to F, I think.
F?
Yeah.
H is Hillary?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Hillary?
No, but that's the Pacific. There's the Pacific, and then there's the Atlantic. They got whole naming conventions for this shit.
Oh, my God.
That I'm not even... I can't take, like, a Hurricane Gert seriously. I just can't do it. Let me check, actually. What are we up to in the Atlantic? Hurricane Atlantic. Oh. Yeah. Gert.
Gert?
Gert.
Wow. Anyways, Joe, to tie all this into your the more stuff with climate.
Well, the short answer is that unless we get rid of capitalism, this is only going to get worse because these are all symptoms of the same problem.
Yeah.
Capitalist exploitation.
There's a lot of like really bad ideas that venture capitalists are pitching for climate change remediation.
Oh, go off. I want to hear these.
Well, there's this guy that I follow who's like, I guess he's Russian and lives in Korea, but he covered 6 of them on his channel. And like, there's a company that wants to like paint the planet white.
Wait, what?
It's not a joke.
Wait, what?
You want to paint the planet white?
That honestly sounds like aperture science bullshit. What are you talking about?
I know. There was like other companies that, since it was illegal in the United States, so they just went to Mexico and did it. They just released like a bunch of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, like in balloons, because when volcanoes erupt, they cause global winters. So they were like, fuck it, let's just do that. And then Mexico made it illegal because like that's dangerous to do.
Yeah.
It's another company that's in Norway. They're just like throwing glass dust on icebergs.
What? What are these people talking? What are you?
These are real, dude. These are like real initiatives that have been funded by investors and everything. Yeah, that's fucking. It's a real shit show. It's like
it's genuinely depressing.
It's really bad. I didn't make any of those up, by the way.
No, I believe you when you say this. It's like
the painting the Earth white one is definitely...
that one's very like that one's crazy. And then everyone goes blind because it's just the constant. Everywhere you look, it's the brightest shit imaginable.
Yeah, dude. Even just like going outside on a sunny day is struggle sometimes.
Everybody would have snow blindness immediately. Jesus. Oh my God.
That's really, they're all just proposing, like, let's make the Earth shinier. Let's make the Earth reflective.
Where's Elon's fucking solution?
Come on, man.
Is his solution still like rockets and Mars, I guess?
We should rename the Earth X-Planet.
We should do Planet X. Oh my God, there we go. Then the myths will be true. Planet X. Oh my God.
Yeah, but then Konstantin Batygin Batigan?
Konstantin Batigan.
Then he'll have to come up with like a new... Oh, no, I guess that's Planet 9.
Okay. All right. Joey, is that all the climate stories?
Just about.
Just about. Are there more?
Not really.
Okay.
I feel like there's an answer to, like... There's like a binary. Like either you have more stories or you didn't.
Yeah. So
Fair
about it's interesting. An interesting
What
way
do you
of
mean
putting
fair enough?
it. Yeah.
You're not wrong.
What the fuck? Anyways, move on. Just talk about Guatemala.
About what? About which?
Jesus. Oh god.
What the fuck? I'm gonna pass out, dude.
We're all on one. We're all. This is the strangest.
Moving on.
That's what I was
Do we
trying to
have
do.
something to move on to?
Yes, Guatemala. That was all the climate stories.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because there was Maui, that was the main part, and then he had a couple others. There were three he was going to tie together. Anyways, Guatemala.
In positive news, not related to Guatemala, this just happened today. The Teamsters announced that UPS Teamsters have ratified their contract where they basically got UPS to cave and give them pretty much all of their demands without even having to withhold their labor. Teamsters voted 86% in favor of ratifying the contract, which, when I was there in 2018, only like 45% of us voted in favor. So...
68%?
No. 86.
Oh, shit.
86.3 to be precise.
That's a big number.
I mean, I heard some people being like, this is like a sellout if you don't go to strike. Think about it this way. You got one of the biggest corporations in the world to cry uncle and, like, cave and give you that bag, get all the goods, and you didn't even have to withhold your labor. That's power.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Just thought I'd mention that before talking about Guatemala. So,
Yeah, shouts out to Sean O'Brien.
I didn't know that there was so much basically universal support of the new contract. I thought it was a lower number. That's awesome to hear. Anyways,
Guatemala.
So, for the first time since like the 50s, the early 50s, a left-wing candidate has been elected president of Guatemala. Anti-corruption crusader Bernardo Arévalo won 58% of the votes and has won on in a landslide.
He won in a landslide. Is he going to survive?
That's a good question, actually. Sadly,
That was a bad joke.
I don't.
I thought you were like, is he like going to get? Is he going to get like
I know. I'm
assassinated
sorry.
or
I'm
something?
sorry. I
Joe.
know. I'm sorry.
Joe.
That does
Joe.
tend to happen a lot
I'm
in
gonna-
South America.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The last
yes.
time a leftist was elected was 1951. Jacobo Arnez won in 1951, and then the U.S. government infamously deposed him in a coup 3 years later.
yes, I did a menagerie about that.
So yeah, it's the first time in like 70, 80 years that Guatemala has actually had a left-wing president.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Jesse's yeah. No, I can see how Joe would have. Yeah. What are his chances of getting a coup and or
Yeah, he didn't get our last boy did not get assassinated, but he did get forced out.
Yikes. All you gotta say, folks, is yikes.
Guatemala is probably the biggest victim of bureaucratic capitalism on Earth.
I would be inclined to agree.
Yikes.
That's where most of the child labor in this country comes from.
Oh.
Guatemalans are also now the largest like ethnic group of people who are migrating to the United States because of like destabilization at home. They're now like the largest group of people who are like at the southern border.
Well, hopefully this new president can correct the course of that country and yeah, hell yeah. We stand in solidarity. Hopefully, he can improve the conditions of Guatemala and not be stymied by capitalists and other motherfuckers like America and the CIA. It's always a. Ugh. Anyways. Joe,
Yes.
you wanted to respond?
Yeah, I mean.
Anyways, no, let me start actually. No, because I should. No, because this is. Like, we know what we're talking about. I don't know if the people do.
Yeah, it makes more sense for you to start out.
Yeah, so this is just Joe. Again, it wasn't necessarily my take. Basically, it's a theory that Crispin put forward that he and like a chatter in his stream kind of forged together, that like the failure of the socialist project in the 20th century can be or I added on the atomic bomb. So that's actually kind of actually is my take. I take that back. But there was a serious consideration when Matt put this forth, but that like the failure came from the basically the Soviet Union and like and I have more to add to that. Basically what I meant is that like Marx always said that like Russia was still a monarchy, and like there was more of like it wasn't meant to happen in like a country like Russia. It was meant to happen in somewhere like London or Germany. Like that's where he originally like conceptualized these things. And so like in like the rise of so basically the Bolshevik Revolution, the rise of the Soviet Union, the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Spanish Civil War, and the failure of the socialists in the Spanish Civil War, and the atomic bomb, are the three reasons why like the socialist projects failed in the 20th century. Joe has a response.
Well, hold on.
If you guys have a response is to what I'm saying, go
First off, I have to say, like, that means that Matt is saying if Trotsky won. If it was Trotsky instead of Lenin, that's what he's saying, because that was the Trotskyist philosophy, that the revolution would have to start in a European country that had already transitioned to capitalism, like with the petty bourgeoisie.
But like, I just disagree out of hand with like the idea of the Spanish Civil War, which in my estimation of things like doesn't even crack the top 10 of like important things that happened last century in regards to like the direction of the socialist movement or like the socialist project, because like realistically the Spanish Republicans were severely outgunned by the fascists, and like Hitler even used the Spanish Civil War as like a testing ground for the Luftwaffe, whereas like all of the Spanish Republicans had were like some international volunteers who like showed up on their own, some small arms shipments from the Soviet Union. That's basically it. The fact that they made that civil war last nearly 3 whole calendar years is really a testament to like their tenacity and like their devotion to their cause. Not like indicative of like the left lost because they got crushed in a civil war that they didn't really have good odds of winning in the first place. The Soviet Union, definitely, that's the main factor.
Also, I don't really think Matt is like ascribing to like the Trotskyist interpretation. I mean, because like there's a Ben Shapiro video out where he's trying to like be like the smart asshole and undercut Marx by saying like there's no true socialism and all this bullshit, because like, you know, the revolution didn't happen in the right place. But like still at the same time, it's better that a socialist revolution did happen somewhere, you know. And I think that like everybody agrees on that. So just wanted to clear that up.
Well, what I mean by like the Soviet Union is because like the Soviet Union was the largest socialist power. Not only was it like the largest socialist power, but it was also providing like material aid, political aid, military aid to other like national liberation movements in the periphery in the third world. And there's also like the political support it provided, political legitimacy and support to like other like socialist and communist movements and parties in the core itself. The only like truly leftist government that gets into power in Western Europe in the second half of the 20th century was the French Socialist Party in 1981, and then later entered into a governing coalition with the French Communists in like 84, and they governed until like near the end of that decade. But like even when they were like fucking in power, they immediately got undermined by a huge capital flight. Like you can't vote your way to socialism, you can't reform your way into communism if you're still like in a capitalist power structure, because like the capitalist state is designed to serve the interests of the bourgeoisie of capital and to suppress the workers. That is the purpose of the capitalist state. That is its very nature. I disagree with the idea that it was because there was a Spanish Civil War, or even the atomic bomb for that matter. I actually would argue that NATO and the IMF were bigger contributors to the failure of the socialist project in Europe, because the European Union was created basically for the purpose of like crushing socialism within.
When was the European Union established?
After World War II.
Yes. See, that's the thing. No, that's the thing, is everything you're saying happens way too late in the timeline. That's the problem. Like, World War II is basically the wrinkle. Like, that's the problem.
But like,
you're putting everything way too late. Like, when you start to say 1984, it's like, dude, that's way too late. Like, that's after Vietnam. That's after all these things.
No, I said 45.
Yeah, but you were saying things earlier that were like, you were referencing things that happened in like the 80s and shit.
No,
like
you're just saying the only like.
No, I said the only example of a socialist country in power. So like, even when socialists get into power, they aren't able to get it done because they are immediately undermined by capital. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, there were other European socialist movements that failed, and Joe's basically saying exactly what I said. Like, it seems weird to me to single out the Spanish Civil War as the socialist struggle that determined like the course of history.
Because I would argue that like NATO, which is founded in like 1945, 1947, and is basically designed as an armed organization whose purpose for existing is to crush communism in pretty much all spheres of the world through force of arms. And then later on, you get the European Union, which is essentially designed to like water down any like radical movements in Europe, which gradually leads to the liberalizing like radical like political parties and movements in Europe. Like, you have the socialist parties and the communist parties gradually becoming more like soc dems or like outright libs, because they're boxed into this paradigm by the European Union. And also, like, another aspect of how the socialist project was basically kind of like, I wouldn't say it's been killed, because like maybe in Europe, yes, but like it's kind of started to flourish elsewhere. But like the Western imperial powers, they shift after World War II, or begin to shift away from like open colonialism, like the old fashioned of like we literally occupy other territories with physical military presence, to shifting more towards neo-imperialism, like imperialism by means of financial control, of like countries in Africa being ostensibly being given like freedom and independence, but they are still completely locked into like financial servitude. So like it kind of diffuses discontent and like struggle, because like the local populations are given like the illusion of independence, the illusion of freedom, the illusion of agency, when things haven't really changed. Which is on paper they have, but in all practical reality, still the same dynamic. And it's kind of almost like Eurocentric in a somewhat chauvinist manner to be like the socialist project has failed, because you have countries like Cuba, Vietnam, and China. They are stable, successful socialist countries. Yes, I would actually argue that China is very much, they're still a socialist country. But you also have, before I get back to China...
Well, I guess, like, first of all, you're taking way too much of, like, a literal historical perspective. Second of all, NATO wasn't founded until 1949, and the Soviets had already developed a bomb at that point, so my point still kind of stands. Like, historically, you're putting things in the wrong order.
No, I would...
Okay, dude, like, fucking...
No,
so I guess all of Wikipedia is wrong, and Wikipedia didn't...
What I'm going to say about that is...
Like, the idea of NATO didn't even, like, come into existence until 1947. Like, come on, dude.
No, what I'm going to say is that the atomic bomb is still, like, a major factor, but I would put, like, NATO and EU slightly above it. But it's still, like, in the top 5.
And I should have added that, like, I do mean mostly in the West and in Europe and America, and, like, there really isn't any hope of socialism happening in America, but, like, sorry I didn't, but yeah, okay. Like, no, you're right. Like, there have been successful revolutions in Asia, which, again, I do think that, like, if there's any, like, future for the world, it's in Asia. And South
like, in
America
Africa,
as well.
For example, you have this...
And Africa, I'm an asshole.
You have this moment of, like anti-Western, like, anti-colonial sentiment of, like, self-liberation happening in countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, which is honestly gives me kind of some hope, because I remember saying to Jesse some months ago, I wasn't so sure that like the peripheral like left, its moment may have passed, but like actually I think I might have been wrong about that, like in the sense that like they won't necessarily be the thing that drives the killing blow to like the American empire, but it will definitely like accelerate that process, because my theory was that like the only way to like truly bring down the American empire is, you know, as is the case with most empires eventually, is like either they continue to expand outwards or they stagnate and that like fascistic energy gets turned inwards. Well, what better way to like cause that energy to be directed inwards than being forced out of the former colonies?
I have to say this before I forget. It makes sense that a fork in the road is forged around the end of World War II because the United States was the only country left standing after World War II. Like, the rest of the world was fucking destroyed.
Yeah, exactly.
And if the United States wasn't literally physically on a map where it was at that time,
we became the global power because of geography.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Geography and like the technological limitations of the period. And what I mean by that is like Germany didn't have like the technological capacity to be able to build a bomber with enough range to like leave occupied France, fly to New York, bomb like New York or Washington D.C., and then be able to make it back.
Time for dinner? Were they making it? Yeah, I hope so.
Anyway. But like
the Nazis did try to make like nukes that you could fire from the ground. They made those huge guns.
Are those the giant ones that were on like the train tracks?
No, these were just.
Oh,
like,
you're thinking like the rail guns from like World War One.
No, those were sick. The Soviet Union had those too.
So in World War II as well.
Yeah, they did as well, but they originated in the First World War.
Oh, okay.
Germany would use these like giant rail guns, firing projectiles that are like, what was it, like 40 inches in diameter from like 100 miles away at Paris.
Bring back armored trains. That was like that was like the most glorious moment of train history. It was like Soviet steam-powered armored trains.
Indeed.
Granted, you probably fuck up an entire operation just by like removing one steel bar from a train track. I don't know, man.
But like I would argue that China's still a socialist country because you have to like look at the historical materialism of like, yes, they had to make some reforms in like the 80s under
Deng.
Under Deng. I don't know, I blanked on that for a second. But like China like developed so insanely fast that they're like having to like go back and like
that did a little too
work through like the stages of development because they went from like starting the 20th century still being ruled by like a dynastic monarchy whose justification for having like dictatorial power was that like, oh, like
I'm a literal god.
And they went from like that at the start of the 20th century to like by the time this Mao and the communists succeed in the revolution in 1949, the average life expectancy in China is like 35 years old. Most of the population are like feudal peasants, and within the space of like 80 years, the average life expectancy has gone from like 35 to 82. Living standards have exponentially improved by like several orders of magnitude. They've lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty, but like all of this development happened so rapidly that it's like now it's kind of like facing some of like the growing pains of developing so quickly. And now they've got to like, it's like kind of like trying to do like socialism in one country, but they kind of skipped a few steps and now they're kind of go back.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
It does.
We talked about this, Scott, you and I, but I really feel like framing, the death of socialism or the failure of socialism, like it's just one branch of history that ended up the way that it did. But any alternative would have limited the development of socialism basically to a European parliamentary socialism, which is very fragile. Like the People's War is a much more secure foundation for like a complete overhaul of the social structure than petite bourgeois reform.
Like at the end of the day, the Chinese government is still like, they serve the interests of the proletariat above all else.
How confidently can you say that? And I'm not trying to say that like China's bad, but is that true?
I mean, more or less, yes. Like they're trying to like develop their domestic economy, but like if the state feels like a private entity is like trying to like do something that would end up exploiting workers, the state comes down hard on them.
The state just buys it. Like the state will just purchase the company. That's why really like in China, capitalists are still afraid of the state. even though there is, plenty of private development, it's almost like at the end of the barrel of a gun. It's like, if you fuck this up, we'll take this from you.
Like the CEO of
That's cool. Okay.
Alibaba, which then became like the Ant Group or whatever. The Communist Party of China basically retains exclusive rights over like the financial system. And like the Ant Group attempted to break into the financial system, like get like a foot in the door. And the state cracked down on them, and then their CEO was basically disappeared. Like, you fuck up, we're going to disappear you.
Yeah. That happened just recently. I mean, he's not dead, but...
But he sure isn't in charge of his capitalist enterprise anymore.
Yes. That's coming out of his pocket. I don't know what the fuck he's going to do.
Well, okay.
The U.S., we never really had anything remotely close to socialism. It was like, the idea that, like, for example, like, the FDR was, like, some socialist is... I think, like, we have a romantic... Like, looking back, we have a romantic view of, like, FDR because he was, like, kind of, like, the least shitty president we've had.
When you say we, you mean most Americans.
Yes, most Americans.
Yeah.
Have, like, a rosy-tinted perspective of it because, like, this dude was, like, a capitalist whose goal was to save capitalism from itself. And we got the New Deal because this was, like, the concessions that were made because FDR and the Democrats were fucking terrified of, like, there being a bread riot that then results in, like, the United States of America becoming, like, the next United Soviet Republic of America. And at the end of the day, like, we got as many reforms as we did because there was a strong, like, socialist movement. Like, the communists were actually, like, scaring the Democrats shitless into providing, like, Social Security in, like, the Wagner Act because they were terrified of a communist revolution. Not because, like, oh, we're going to do this nice thing because, like, that's our goal. In April of 1934, for example, there was an uprising in Minneapolis, Minnesota, by communists that resulted in the establishment of a commune. They forced all of the city officials out of the city and established a commune, and that lasted for a month, but only up until the U.S. Army was sent in to, quote-unquote, restore order. That was, like, the political climate at the time of the New Deal. And, like, the reason we never really had a socialist movement is because during the Red Scare, the FBI basically came into existence for the purpose of cracking down on leftists, cracking down on the IWW specifically. And like 3 years before the first Red Scare, like 1917, Woodrow Wilson and the Democrats passed the like Sedition Act to basically like, it's against the law now to like shit on the government, specifically because the socialists in the US were very, very much against the war, and Wilson was terrified of like the socialists undermining his agenda. And so the last 3 years of like the 19 teens, the US is actively like detaining, deporting, or outright murdering most of the prominent socialist leaders in this country.
Did you have to do more than just shit on the country?
No, it was like speaking out against
for
the
the
war.
Sedition Act?
But you get what I mean.
No.
Not really, no.
No. I'm saying you don't. For the Sedition Act, they just like made it illegal to do anything. I mean, at the time they were using the word anarchist, but like it was literally like if you are Russian.
Yeah.
If you are Russian.
You didn't have to do fucking anything. Like you
Yeah.
could like pass out a pamphlet for like your union in the mail, and they would fucking prosecute you.
Oh,
yeah,
jeez.
the
Okay,
Sedition
well, that
Act was
sucks.
basically
That
like
sucks.
the government giving
Sounds
itself
like a
like
bad
a
time.
blank check to like do whatever the fuck
Wow.
it wants to suspected leftists.
It was the first Red Scare, but at
Yeah.
the time they weren't using the word communist; they were using the word anarchist.
Anarchist or Slav.
Yes.
Because you look at newspaper articles from that period of time, and any kind of communist or like socialist uprising, like a lot of prominent socialists of the time in the U.S. were immigrants from Eastern Europe. So they'd just be like blanketly just referred to as, oh, Slavs like stage an uprising.
Yeah, and the newspaper monopolists would buy out the communist news. Well, not like buy out, but
Seize it after like the people running the newspaper are like arrested or like murdered.
who was that one? There was like one guy that owned basically the entire press at the beginning of the century.
William Randolph Hearst.
There was another guy though.
Citizen Kane. Joe, do you have any more ways to disagree with me? I'm just kidding.
I think I'm good for now.
All right. Really? All right. Sorry, I came a little hard.
All
A
good.
little hard on you. We're all rough customers over here. When you shop at the Epoch. I don't know, man.
Anyways,
How we feeling, boys? That's a show. I think that's a show.
Are we gonna talk about the NOAA or?
We already did. Jesse included it with everything. That there will be a damn hurricane this season.
Yeah, then I guess we're good.
Plenty of damn hurricane. Let me tell you.
Yes, it was William Randolph Hearst.
Or you mean it was Joseph Pulitzer?
Uh,
Oh my fucking god.
it was both of them, I guess.
Jesus Christ. Yes. Oh my god. And on that bewildering.
I just wanted to make sure there wasn't like another. I think the British guy, the name that I was thinking of was William Randolph Hearst, because that is a British ass name. William Randolph Hearst.
Let me tell you, folks. Was
He
where
died in fucking Beverly Hills.
That's where he wants to be. Oh, he was born in San Francisco. Oh. Anyways, my name is Scott. You can find me online, Sweaty Wife. I don't care. I'm on Threads. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky now. It's kind of not that great. And I'm on Twitch, Sweaty_wife. Playing Portal right now. Joe, what have you been doing? What's your handles?
It's honestly really not worth the effort.
Okay.
I don't really think I'm worth the effort of trying to find me out online.
You heard it here first. Do.
Not
He's
interesting
Jesse.
enough to be worth finding.
Wow. Sorry.
come on, man.
And he's Jesse.
He's Jesse. You can find my YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes, you can find my YouTube at youtube.com/@contingenceboston, CONTINGENCE.
Boston.
I have cats, I have spiders, I have music.
I got cats.
I got
music. I got
favorites.
spiders for all use.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm glad that I never used Twitter, because now I don't have to, like, learn how to say X instead.
Just call it Twitter.
Call it X Twitter Elon.
I have a short on my page with a turkey, and it says IDK, man. So if you're on that page, you found it. And I do have a slam recommendation this evening. And your slam recommendation is... Scott, you're gonna like the snare in this shit.
It's pretty good.
You're probably gonna hate it, but you're also gonna love it.
Oh my god, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right on both. You're right. Yeah.
I don't know where I fall on it. It's just, it resonates with me now. The album is called Ingurgitating Intestinal Rot.
Just like our country.
Yeah.
And the band is Delusional Parasitosis.
Describe our president.
Where are they from?
They're from Michigan, but their drummer is German. Their drummer is from Dusseldorf.
Oh.
But they're not like an internet band. Like, they
German
toured.
tinged blast beats.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they toured together. I was looking to see if their live lineup had a different drummer, but no, it's the same drummer. They have a different bassist though for some reason. It's good shit though.
Yeah, it's no Rex Viper bullshit. Don't worry.
Fucking love that. That old school Slam, dude. 2014. That was like a good time for Slam. It was.
That was the height of Slam,
It was
2014.
It's a good Slam year.
Hell yeah, that's good to hear though. You can find us on Patreon and other such social medias at Epic Incredulity. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. I should actually get us on either Blue Sky or Threads soon. We're also on
How is
YouTube,
Blue
but
Sky?
kinda it doesn't. It's kind of unstable. It's not. It's like kind of dead a little bit. It's very like. It's not bad. Like the posts themselves are actually pretty good, and then like how you can like arrange like your feeds and stuff. You can have like an unlimited amount of feeds from like multiple. It's like it's good, but like I don't follow enough people. Enough people don't follow me. Plus, like the app definitely has some like lag to it. but it's not terrible. It's fine. But more importantly, go to our Patreon, get those Marxist menageries, and eat them up. Or whatever.
Just put out a new one today, as of this recording.
It's just
starting a document called Mass Work, and it's by the Communist Party of the Philippines. The Filipinos.
Communist, the way you said that was so weird. It's for the Communist Party of the Philippines.
Those Filipinos. The Filipinos. The Filipinas. Beautiful people.
Jesse means it, though. All right. As
Still
always.
does a good Trump impression.
He does. Oh, yeah, Trump got indicted in
I'm gonna
Georgia in a way that might actually... That's what I forgot, is that Trump was indicted in Georgia, and that might actually like lead to him going to jail.
And for the first time, he will have to get a mugshot.
Really?
Yes.
For the first time?
I would love to see a Republican debate with him, like... like live streaming from his prison cell.
Would they allow that? Like, I know... No, I know you can. Like,
no idea.
Yeah, actually, it would. Never mind. No, that's why they would allow it, because it would be great for the ratings. Because, like, I know you can run from jail and you can govern from jail.
Live from the federal penitentiary.
What level of discomfort would they actually allow, a former president, even though it is Trump, would they actually allow him to feel in prison? Like, that's the other thing. It would be a comfy prison. Anyways. What you should do is drive up to the prison and with your tank and say "Batankto" and then blow it up and let all the prisoners out.
Yes.
But Tankto. Anyways.
But Tankto.
Joe doesn't give a shit, apparently.
Well, I
sleeping on
I agree.
That outro.
He agrees, folks. We got it. We got some agreement.
We have achieved consensus.
That's the epoch, folks. Jeez, man.
Say that when I come. I've achieved consensus.
Oh, I was like, what? Oh my god.
Wait, what did you just say about Billie Eilish?
I have bad guys stuck in my head, and I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. It's just stuck in my head.
Dude, I don't fucking understand. Like,
it's just
I don't know,
singer.
man. I don't understand. Like,
it's just a pop singer.
But she does a lot of Xanax, right? Isn't that like that her? Like that's. No, I thought that was like her whole persona was that she's like.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think her whole thing is she does Xanax. Jesus Christ, who cares?
Really?
No, I think there's something to what you say. How like I'm like
dude,
sad.
She has a fucking song just called Zanny.
Well, okay, sorry, whatever.
She definitely.
I apparently don't know any of that much. I just know one song. Apparently, I don't know anything else beyond.
Billie Eilish opens up about Xanax addiction.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
I think
I apologize.
I'm pretty sure she. Billie Eilish has been arrested on charges of drug possession. Okay, yeah.
So, maybe it's maybe.
It's possible.
All right. Well,
whatever. I'm glad she got clean. I don't know if she actually did, but I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, all our sober comrades.
Good night, everybody.
Solidarity. Good night.
I randomly stepping in dog
What
shit.
the fuck is happening?
Clever thunderstorm flesh that thinks.